for LSU. One of these teams will be 3-1 in the SEC after tonight is over. It's the Tigers in white. It's the Rebels in blue, and we're underway here at the PMAC. Juju Murray is the talented transfer from St. Peter's, number 5, the point guard, and right away a turnover and a steal for the number 1 steals team in the SEC, LSU.
How about the quick hands of Williams?
Williams to Baker down low, missed the bunny, and Ole Miss will board it. Both these teams do struggle on the glass, something to keep an eye out for throughout tonight's festivities. Rebels, this is Flanagan, the former Auburn Tiger, giving him great minutes this year. Murray, the 5'11" point guard, hounded by Cook. Now Brakefield, the senior. Another turnover and another steal. That's 2 already for LSU. It's Williams to right, corner, 3-ball. Off the mark from Cook, and a rebound for Baker. Williams spots up a 3, Brick City, and a rebound of the Rebels.
Both teams kind of feeling each other out. Both teams will get out and run.
And that will be a turnover on Ole Miss. So 3 turnovers in the early going in 1 minute and 11 seconds for the Rebels as we look at the LSU starting 5. Again, it all starts with Jalen Cook. Jordan Wright has been sensational. The transfer from Vanderbilt, Will Baker, has been terrific. The transfer from Nevada as Cook sets up the play in the half court. Cook probing. And another turnover. A little bit of sloppy play early going, Coach.
Yeah, we need shots on goal.
That'd be nice. How about a step back 3? Morrell, one of the top shooters in the SEC, hitting 40% from downtown. Alley-oop pass Baker, and that goes out of bounds. The Rebels starting 5. Chris Beard came in here and said, okay, I've got a great veteran in Morrell and Brakefield, but I've got to hit the portal, and boy did he ever. He got a couple of rim protectors, including Musa Cisse, the 7-footer. He's got a 7-footer coming off the bench, 7'5" Jamarian Sharp, who we'll see several minutes tonight in the ball game. There's a 3 knocked down. That's Juju Murray.
This Ole Miss starting 5, they don't ask a lot of Cisse, but the other 4 starters are all double-figure scorers, and they can all shoot the 3-ball.
Ole Miss shoots 40% from downtown. That's number 1 in the league, top 10 nationally. Williams on a response. He rattles a 3 home.
34% on the year.
The freshman, and a rejection by Jalen Reed, whose old man was an All-American at Ole Miss.
You got to get more out of that drag screen. I'm talking about Cook at the point.
Skip pass into the corner. Right passes up a 3, throws up a teardrop, misses everything.
I think the offenses are okay. You just have to make shots. Stop turning the ball over.
3-ball. You could see Juju measuring one up. Got just enough space, and the 5'11" Dynamo point guard buries it.
He's a converted point guard. Remember, he did not play the point at St. Peter's, but he's had 4 20-plus games already this year.
Murray was part of that Elite 8 run by St. Peter's a couple of years ago. Chris Beard, speaking of tournament runs, how about 1 Elite 8 and 1 Final 4, including a national championship game appearance at Texas Tech, then Texas, and now here in Oxford. And as if the fraternity of coaches in this league was not strong enough, you bring in a guy like Chris Beard, and everywhere you look, it's just 1 star after another.
With Texas and Oklahoma close by.
Right. Inside, and you can tell the game plan early on, get Juju Murray involved heavily early on. There's Matt McMahon, who did glorious things at Murray State and trying to bring some of the magic here to Baton Rouge. Off to a 2-1 conference start.
LSU that we had in their last game at Auburn on Saturday night. Remember that they got down, way down in the second half by 28, and then got the game within single digits. thanks to some three-point shooting and some better defense. And Matt McMahon, when we talked to him today, he said one thing that we stopped doing was turning the ball over.
By the way, Matt McMahon saw plenty of Juju Murray, who just hit the free throw line. You go back to that St. Peter's Elite Eight run, one of the teams they beat in the second round. How about Murray State, led by one head coach Matt McMahon?
6 degrees of hoops.
Gotta love it. Cook wings it over to Mike Williams, a freshman from Baltimore. Now it's Baker. Carving up space inside, throws it up top. 7 on the shot clock. Cook thought about it, now throws down low. Here's Reed going to work inside, but happy feet and a walk.
Sharp does not get credit for the block, but he might as well, because he forced that turnover. Sharp and Cisse kind of split time at the 5-man, if you will. Sharp averages more than 18 minutes, Cisse 15 minutes. And Sharp's block numbers are off the charts.
Murray, tough angle on that layup, but a steal, and Murray gets it back and banks it home. Great start to the game for Juju Murray.
Yeah, LSU just playing giveaway.
A 6-point lead for the Rebels.
It's a great matchup, though. Flanagan is guarding Jordan Wright.
It'll be LSU basketball when we come back. Juju Murray, the transfer from St. Peter's, igniting here in the opening stanza. A couple of threes, trips to the free throw line as well. Murray showing he can splash it from downtown.
Poor outing last time against Auburn. But the game before that, he had 28 against Vandy. So he's kind of, both of these point guards, Mike, are scoring point guards.
Right. And we've certainly seen that early on by Juju Murray, who already has a couple of threes. Baker, speaking of threes, the big man's got some range, and he shows it off right there.
Wow, that's scoring over Sharp at the arc. That's a lot of length.
That is
on the closeout.
You mean 7'5" is tall? Yeah. Sharp, the tallest player in Division I basketball. He's number 3 in blue. He's in the game now. Baker boards it. Here comes LSU down by 3. Cook gets it back, steps into a 3-ball. Too strong, and there is Sharp to grab his first carom and throws it away right on a steal.
Smart decision, though, by Jordan Wright.
LSU comes in averaging nearly 10 steals a game, number 1 in the league. Baker has it blocked by Sharp, but a whistle, and Sharp will be called for the foul.
Will Baker, who is capable at the arc, he's made 7 on the year, but take a look at the outstretched arms, what he has to shoot over. 7'5" and the length, nothing but the bottom.
I don't know if coaches still do this, but when we were kids, you'd have a coach grab
broom.
a broom
Yes.
and raise it as high as he could to make you shoot over taller players. There's not a broom on the planet big enough to resemble that man, Jamarian Sharp. They call him Books, by the way, because when he was at Western Kentucky, he didn't have some of the best grades. He comes to Ole Miss. They said, we're going to change that. You're going to focus on your academics. He made the dean's list, so he earned the nickname Books. What a great story. 2-point game here in Baton Rouge. Juju going to work on Cook. Finds Matthew Morrell, who's been quiet in the early going. Alley-oop pass, and a foul, a push from behind on Reed. Well-designed play for Cisse, the other big transfer. 2-time Big 12 all-defensive team selection. So we talked about the length of Sharp. 7'5", tallest player in Division I basketball. Cam Brent, the shortest player, his teammate, reminds us of Manute Bol and Muggsy Bogues, teammates back in the late 80s on those Bullets teams. Yeah,
Don't you love that?
That's fantastic. Over 2 feet of difference between those pair of teammates. Gotta love that as well. Baseline jumper by Matthew Morrell, who's having his best year in an Ole Miss uniform.
I think he has really expanded his offensive game. He was more known as just a shooter. but he's developed into much more than that.
Cook rifles one into the corner, sets up an open three. Offensive rebound, Reed, who banks it home.
That's because Cisse had to go to the corner on the closeout and left open some offensive rebounding opportunities.
Ole Miss, another turnover. That's 5 turnovers on Ole Miss, and that's not going to make that man very happy.
Don't you like the way he honors Bob Knight with that signature on his... But what are we calling the coach's outfit these days?
The quarter zips?
Yeah.
A lot of them have.
When is that going to come
zip.
over to us?
I don't know. I mean, with your clothing allowance, it would be a shame to not have you wearing a suit every game.
Here's a little matchup zone by Ole Miss.
How do you attack it?
Again, you've got to have cutters. You've got to have people running through. Great ball fake.
And there to clean up the mess coming from out of nowhere is Cisse.
You've got to take another look at Cisse. It's always the guy, the second guy removed who gets the highlight blocks. He almost blocked that with his elbow. That wasn't even a challenge.
Rebound comes into Dean, who's instant energy off the bench, but he's unable to handle the inbounds pass.
There are too many possessions, Mike, where the offense for both teams is just going, as we take a look at the high turnover number here.
Yeah. You know, last night the story of 2 very entertaining games was the massive amount of fouls in each game. We haven't had a ton of whistles, but boy, we've had a lot of turnovers. That's a beautiful take by Alan Flanagan. He has found some new artistry in his game since changing uniforms from Auburn to Ole Miss.
And that is his game, really. There's nothing good for you in there against the shot blockers. And Cisse just told Brakefield, don't foul. I've got the rim protection behind you. Flanagan, who you were talking about, he's averaging more than 16 points a game, but what has impressed me, his assist to turnover ratio this year. And it's significantly better than any point in time in his career.
He just seems like he has fit in, and sometimes a change of scenery just brings something different out of a player. That's been the case. Not that Alan Flanagan wasn't good at Auburn, he certainly was, but you had a lot of other players in front of him in terms of go-to guys there. Here at Ole Miss, he's kind of been called upon to be one of the leaders.
Mike, you mentioned last night's game. How about the 30 club last night? Wade Taylor with 41, Dalton Connect with 39, Tremont Mark with 35, including the game winner. He went to the free throw line by himself. He went to the free throw line 22 times in that game.
Can we just talk about Dalton Connect and how exciting you fans out there of college basketball, I don't care who your team is.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Dalton Connect of Tennessee, that is must-see television. He is a player put on a display for us in Starkville
a week ago
tonight. They wound up losing that game, but he was terrific in that game and every game since. Flying in for the rebound, it's Cisse. Sets up a 3 from Morrell. Off the mark, another offensive rebound. Brakefield hammered from behind. Right now, Ole Miss is crashing and using that size to its advantage.
Second shot opportunity, third shot opportunity. Know your role. Cisse gets on the glass. That leads to the wide open Morrell 3. He will not miss that very often. And then Brakefield gets fouled on his putback attempt and gets to the line.
Jamin Brakefield had a career best 28 points in that rout of the Florida Gators, and much like Flanagan, he's having a career year.
Mike, one of the things that has always impressed me about Chris Beard's team is role definition and role understanding. All of his players seem to understand what their role is, and they thrive in that role.
The expression "stay in your lane, bro," comes to mind. A lot of players, that's hard for them to do.
But when you look at the shot distribution for Ole Miss this year, Morrell and Flanagan over 12, Murray at 11, Brakefield 8. They know who should shoot the shots.
Hannibal, who was terrific against Auburn. Shot clock is under 5 for Wright. Going to have to heave it. 2-1. Deep 3 on the way. Banks it home. The bank is open on a Wednesday night in the Bayou.
Did he call it?
Heck no, but it counts. He had 18 in that loss to the Auburn Tigers. He's really, speaking of guys who have had a career year, Wright has had one for LSU. Nice shot that time by Brandon Murray, the transfer from Georgetown.
Contested, high degree of difficulty. He's just playing in his 8th game.
Open three missed. And there to clean it up is Derek Fountain, the former Mississippi State Bulldog.
You know, when I watch Derek Fountain play, he almost reminds me of Anderson Garcia, Cam Matthews, guys that kind of make their living getting on the offensive glass.
Special game for him as he's from Holly Springs, Mississippi. Murray angles it right of the lane to Flanagan. Flanagan backing, firing, and misses a tough shot. And a rebound scooped up by Cook. 3-on-2 if they push. Cook slows it up, now attacks, and almost turned it over. Hannibal misses everything. And here comes Morrell and Ole Miss with numbers to Flanagan on the attack, and he'll go to the line for a pair.
Late in a shot clock, no problem. Late at night in Baton Rouge, no problem. Jordan Wright understands it's got to go now. Yeah, he called it. LSU hanging around.
Because Kentucky, in my opinion, is one of the best teams that Cal has had in years. Tennessee is still Tennessee, right? Auburn and Alabama are awfully good. So the top is still elite in this conference, but the bottom is rising. And I think that's a great story about the health of the league.
Here's another thing. I have Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, and Tennessee on tier 1, if you will. And the tier 2 might be everybody else.
Yeah, it's a very deep and expanding tier 2 at this point in time.
A little UCLA series by LSU.
Reed takes it on the trees and over the 7-5 Sharp with the kiss and in. 2-point game. Jalen Reed, some quality minutes in the early going.
But Mike, doesn't it seem like Sharp or Cisse is challenging everything at the rim?
This guy's challenging too. The shortest and smallest guy on the floor, Juju Murray. He's special.
44% from the field, 44% from the arc. The offensive arsenal of Murray on display here in the first half.
Chris Beard was telling us in shoot around today how important that pickup was. He started formulating the roster, and you know what you have in Morrell. You've got an elite player. But what he needed was rim protection, and boy, did he ever get a lot of that. And then he needed the point guard. And Juju Murray, you're talking about a guy that at St. Peter's played in 62 games and, of course, was part of an Elite 8 run by that school, a run that everybody will remember just a few years ago. So so much of the job now, Mark, see if you agree with this as a former coach, is how you're able to construct a roster in the ever-changing landscape. There's a three knocked down by the Rebels.
It's the ingredients. We talked about this last week with Auburn, how you are a roster manager probably first right now.
Great take by Jordan Wright on the response. 3 for Ole Miss, 2 right back for LSU.
I wanted to say this about Murray. He's a converted point guard.
Yeah.
And coming into this game, he has 62 assists and 28 turnovers. That's second best in the league for a converted point guard.
And this whole Ole Miss team has a stellar assist-to-turnover ratio, part of their success this year.
Isolation.
Runs into a brick wall, and Reed almost walked. 2 on the shot clock and another turnover. And now LSU off and running it toward Slam City on the other end.
Brakefield got himself in a no-win situation, picked up his dribble on the block.
LSU leading the league in steals and forcing turnovers. Murray in traffic, missed that one, and Murray with a nice box, with a nice box out, it's Baker.
Boy, Ole Miss really tries to keep the ball on the side. Lazy one-handed pass leads to the run out.
Wide open 3, Brakefield, rims off, and Reed boards it for LSU. Not a great look when you had numbers.
In today's world, though, that's a pretty good look.
Reed up top, wide open 3, got it. And a timeout called by Ole Miss. We have a tie with 7:56 to go.
One of the keys tonight for both teams, don't turn the ball over. Watch as Brakefield gets himself in trouble. Look at this curve-high pass off the bounce. That leads to the easy runouts. And one of the keys to this game, which team might be able to get easy points? Reed knocks down the three.
Fans have been entertained by a good start for both teams. 24-24 with 7:56 to go here at the PMAC, a historic building led by historic figures over the years, including that man Dale Brown, who's still
giving autographs.
Still giving autographs. Might be doing a little bit of coaching too while he's out there. Of course, 2 Final Fours for Dale Brown back in '81 and '86. One of the pillars of SEC coaching history, and that is the back of the head of one John Brady there in black, and there is the front of the head of John Brady. And of course, he led the 2006 team to the Final Four. One of the funniest guys you'll ever chat with. I remember doing some of the games on radio back in that '06 season. That was the big baby Tyrus Thomas year. It was a team that was a ton of fun to watch, and John Brady was never short of entertainment during his time.
You know, Dale Brown, one of the interesting things about Dale Brown, he took LSU to the Final Four twice in an era where only Kentucky went to the Final Four from this league.
That's right. Of course, when people hear Final Four and they hear Dale Brown, they probably think, oh, well, that was Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
Oh, well, that was Chris Jackson or Stanley Roberts. But those were not those teams.
Right.
Those were, quote, unquote, less heralded teams in terms of star power, but very good teams nonetheless. First free throw, left short by Cisse. I mentioned he's a 2-time Big 12 All-Defensive Team selection. That was at Oklahoma State. You and I both had some of his games when he was a freshman at Memphis.
But he's a career 43% free throw shooter. A little 2-2-1, a different look. Trying to change it up. Well, you can't flirt with the mid-court line.
Reed, power dribble, and rejected return to center that time by Cisse.
See the way Cisse kept that ball alive, though? Did not swat it out of bounds.
The Rebels, 6.7 blocks a game. That is second in all of college basketball. LSU's got a block on the other end. It's Ward with the rejection, and it'll be LSU ball.
Good activity, anticipating that eventually Flanagan was going to come back over his right shoulder, which a left-hander wants to do.
I like the way LSU has come out to this game. It was a tough night, even though it was a valiant comeback against Auburn. They certainly were humbled a bit on the road, which Auburn can do to you, particularly at their home arena. But they've come out here with some good energy and playing some good ball.
Ole Miss really good at recovering, stunting defensively and recovering. I don't think a mid-range jumper by your 7-footer, I'm not sure that's the shot you want. Can he make that shot? Yes.
Oh, Flanagan throws it right into the hands of LSU's Mike Williams, who draws the foul on the other end.
Flanagan gives up the simple pass to make a cross-court pass that was easily picked off.
7 first-half turnovers on Ole Miss. And the freshman from Baltimore will go to the line for a pair.
Williams has been double figures 5 times this year. Now, Williams had a game this year where he made 6 threes against Northwestern State. So that's part of his game right now. But like a lot of freshmen, most freshmen, some days are good, some days aren't so good.
Well, and you brought up a good point as well, is that since the arrival of Jalen Cook, there's been fewer shots perhaps to go around for guys like Mike Williams, Carlos Stewart playing fewer minutes.
Right.
That's the impact of getting really the guy who's become the kind of the face of the franchise, if you will, in Jalen Cook. Nice pass down low to Cisse. Missed it though. Good feed. Miss unable to capitalize. Here's Cook. He's been relatively quiet. Step back three. I'm not sure if that's the shot.
Yeah.
And Matt McMahon immediately showed some frustration with that look. Remember, it was Cook that sat on the bench nearly the entire second half with some poor decision making. Rebels haven't hit a field goal in 3.5 minutes. Morrell, fade and fire. Got it.
But again, it's such a struggle just to get a good look, a clean look. Credit both teams on the defensive end.
Matthew Morrell, who really has improved his body this year. He's gotten in the best shape of his life. Went to the G League Combine, and they said he's the most athletic of the participants during that time frame. Want to remind everybody on Thursday on the SEC Network, we've got a women's basketball doubleheader. The second game will feature Angel Reese and LSU, ranked 10th in America, taking on Alabama. And that'll be in Tuscaloosa. Mike Morgan, Mark Wise, it's great to be with you. The first of two tonight on the SEC Network.
I know one thing, Michael. It was chilly here this morning in Baton Rouge.
Oh, my goodness. So it was a record low on Monday. Temperatures in the teens. And typically, when you think of the colder weather SEC towns, you think of it starts with Como. Then we go to Arkansas. Then we go to Lexington, Kentucky. We don't expect these type of temperatures in Baton Rouge.
This is the kind of game I thought we'd get, though. Close throughout.
Yeah. Well, again, somebody's going to walk out of here with a 3-1 conference mark. Bad turnover that time. Steal by Wright all the way. Knocked away. And now a late whistle and a foul called by Don Daly.
Yeah, I don't know what Murray looked at that time because he threw the ball basically. It's like a quarterback throwing it right at a linebacker. Two guys reached in. You could almost call the foul on either one.
Number 6. 2 shots.
Well, this is the next step for this Ole Miss team, is winning on the road in the league. Now, they have 2 road wins. They won at Temple and they won at UCF. And remember, this is an Ole Miss team that went 5-0 in the non-conference in some really close games, 3 points or less.
Right now, our own Joe Lenardi has Ole Miss as a number 8 seed based on their resume, a 15-1 start and 2-1 in league play. This is the first lead of the game for LSU. Morrell, mid-range. Yep, he's had that shot in his bag for 4 years.
Just a bad gamble that time by Wright. That's too lazy of a pass.
And here's Flanagan with a little showtime as he tomahawks one down.
You cannot throw the ball back to the middle of the floor unless it's got some steam on it.
So
I'm sorry, Mike. That bounce pass just kind of hung in the air.
LSU took a lead, and then a couple of bad plays gave it right back up. It's LSU in a field goal drought of 3.5 minutes. Cook almost another turnover and careless with the basketball. This is what hurt Cook in the Auburn game.
If you gamble defensively and don't get it, watch as Wright gambles on that pass. He does not get it. That leads Morrell to a wide open jumper at the elbow, and he cashes in.
Matthew Morrell this year more efficient than ever. 49 from the field, 40 from 3. Leading the SEC in 3-point percentage. Here he is up top, number 11 in blue. A fade and fire. He wanted to get a whistle, did not get one. In a break zone. Under 4 minutes to go, first half. Baker, pump fake on the 3. Back out to Reed. Reeds takes it strong, rejected by Sharp.
That's too easy.
Great ball movement into the corner on an open 3. That pops out for Murray.
I like the extra pass, though. The quick extra pass to lead to the corner 3. Unselfish play.
LSU looking for its first field goal in nearly 5 minutes. Good pass, and Wright with an easy lay-in.
Nice little interchange that time by Cook and Wright, and the defense got lost.
Juju, after scoring 11 quick points, has been a little quiet. Whips it into the corner. Leaner misses and scooped up by Wright. 1 point game here in Baton Rouge. Cook defers. Baker thought about it.
They had a mismatch. Baker helped them out.
Man. And Baker putting it on the deck. That did not work out well.
Flanagan, we talked about him being aggressive. Well, that also rolls over to the defensive end and that easy run out. And we talked about who can get easy points tonight.
His teams to be good as you see Chris Beard. I love what he told us today because we asked him specifically Big 12, SEC. You know, for the last few years,
right,
you could make the argument they've been the best two leagues in college basketball. He said, you know what? The crowds here are fantastic. The environments here are fantastic. Obviously, the players, you've got NBA talent, you've got Hall of Fame coaches. He couldn't get over the NBA talent. I mean,
he knew the number.
He knew
that the SEC had more than anybody else.
How about 92 current players on NBA rosters from the SEC? That is number one. I think a lot of people would be surprised outside of this part of the country to know that. But that's where it's been for the last few years. Number one coming out of this league. And every time you and I do a game, we're looking at a future pro somewhere, sometimes multiple.
Great challenge on the closeout by Hannibal.
Wright measures up a three. There's Dean fighting for the rebound, but Ole Miss takes it away. It's Flanagan.
That's one of the reasons why Flanagan just...
Wright on a steal on the way, and he thunders it home.
Again, it's a simple guard-to-guard pass.
14 consecutive games in double figures for Jordan Wright, who now has 11. Murray, dipsy-do.
Wow.
Juju Murray, where did that come from?
Again, I talk about him in the same vein as Jalen Cook, Aiden Holloway. These guys are scoring point guards.
You know where that came from? He's from the Bronx, New York. That's routine in the Bronx. Uh-oh. Now Jalen Cook trying to heat up.
On cue.
Mano a mano, point guard on point guard, making big plays in a 2-point game.
A lot of dribbles without going anywhere.
And he was trying to bait Cook on a reach-in foul, and he finally got it.
We talk about turnovers. Watch again. Simple guard-to-guard pass. It's just not there. You got to fake a pass to make a pass. And then this cross-court find by Wright out of the double team. Cook knocks down that three ball. That might get him going offensively.
Leave it to you to praise a player's assist-to-turnover ratio improvement and him throw a cross-court pass right to the defense. It's the Mark Wise difference, folks. Murray tried to angle it in, nothing there. Instead, it's Morrell on a step-in three. Too strong. Shot clock is off. LSU up 2, can play for the final shot of the half.
You don't see college teams do this, but Ole Miss has a foul to give.
See if maybe they use it. See it in the NBA all the time. I don't think you're going to see it here now with the clock down to 10. Williams with 5. To Wright with 3. Wright just throws up a prayer, and that did not go according to plan. But LSU's first half certainly did. A 2-point lead against one of the...
Matt McMahon's team had 6 assists and 9 turnovers. I'm sure both head coaches would like to see those numbers flipped in the second 20.
How about a player or two you'd like to see flip their performance from half number 1 to half number 2?
Well, I think Brakefield needs to get involved for Ole Miss. And I'm going to obviously say Jordan Wright needs to continue his good play.
Jordan Wright is screaming, "Save me, Mark Wise, save me."
How can you get that open on a simple pin down, to start the second half?
And now a game-high 14 for the former Vanderbilt Commodore.
So it's like a four-man passing game around Cisse. It's kind of what Ole Miss likes to run.
Almost another turnover. You got to give it to LSU. They are suffocating on the defensive end.
They're stopping the initial dribble drive, and then Ole Miss seems to be over-dribbling.
Right. Murray started off like a firecracker. Finds an open receiver in the corner, and a miss that time by Brakefield. LSU with its largest lead of 5 points, make it 7 plus the foul. Jordan Wright leading all scores in this game tonight.
Why is this such a smart play by Jordan Wright? Watch the way he reads Cisse. He's looking at him. Cisse goes out, Wright goes in. There's no shot blocker, no rim protection. That's an easy and one. That is a smart play by a heady player in Jordan Wright.
A game-high 17 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and how about 6 steals for Jordan Wright? Have yourself a ball game, and we got 19 minutes left. A 9-0 run now for LSU out to its largest lead. Will this stop the bleeding? No, sir. But a rebound by Flanagan. Flanagan banks it home. His second bank shot. The first one was a three-pointer.
I think he's more effective. The harder the shot, the more congested it is. He has great confidence in his ability around the rim.
Cook with a quiet first half. Makes some noise there with a teardrop.
Well, we're all about better offense.
Yes. Open three, misses everything, and then a whistle after the shot, and I believe it's going to go against LSU and Baker.
Baker's body language tells me he was guilty on the play. He kind of knew he had gotten caught holding.
Into the corner, Morrell, rising fire. Matthew Morrell, one of the all-time leading scorers in Ole Miss history.
I think of Matthew Morrell as a really good shooter, but that's a loud jump shot. And what I mean by that is when he goes out to the three-point line, it's still a loud shot. Now, he's making it at such a high rate. If you make it that way, you shoot him any way you want.
Define for me a loud jump shot.
A loud jump shot is a jump shooter who leaves the floor, so it's a slower release, and it takes a lot of activity for him to get the shot off. Most great shooters are quick and quiet.
Particularly at the next level where Morrell hopes to compete. Ole Miss right now without a player in the NBA. 12 of the 14 SEC teams have a player on an NBA roster. Terrence Davis right now is still a free agent, a little bit surprising. When you look at some of the performances, if you haven't seen Gilgeous-Alexander in the NBA,
right,
he is crushing it for Oklahoma City. 31.5 a game. Fox, Anthony Edwards of Georgia, Cam Thomas, who we saw here at LSU, and Anthony Davis continues to be one of the top pivot men in the NBA.
The Thunder are being rewarded for being patient, aren't they?
Yes.
Suffered for a couple of years with that young group. Well, they're now maturing.
Last thing you want to be in the NBA is mediocre. If you're really bad, you get a top pick. Now, this is an interesting point in this game. Any coach will tell you the opening stanza of the second half is as important as any. And so far, LSU has had the upper hand. Nice take and a beautiful finish that time by Murray. Juju Murray now at 15 points.
He read that screen beautifully. Again, this is this little matchup look that they like to give. If you're confused, send a cutter through. There's nothing good against Cisse or Sharp, either one, inside.
Baker has it blocked. Baseline jumper is off the mark. Offensive rebound. Flanagan carves up space. Missed the short turnaround. And now it's LSU on the attack. Cook whips it out of the corner to Wright. Wright leading all scorers with 17. Wheels, deals, missed it. Gets his own rebound. Reverse layup for Jordan Wright with a game-high 19.
Actually used the rim to help protect against the rim protector.
Against the #1 shot blocking team in the league.
You better be careful with Jordan Wright on those guard-to-guard passes.
LSU up by 6 with the basketball.
I like the way Mike Williams goes to the glass for a freshman.
Cook takes it right into the chest of the 5'11" Juju Murray and draws the foul.
How else can you get easy points other than points off turnovers? By going to the offensive glass. Watch as Wright wheels and deals, just kind of gets it up on the rim, keeps it alive, and then the up and under to avoid the shot blocker. It's an all-out effort play by Jordan Wright.
That's a look at Mark Wise's personal yacht here on the Mississippi River, not too far from where we sit comfortably at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. LSU trying to win one at home, leading at 45-39. Ole Miss, one of the better stories in the league this year, and that guy was one of the better stories during his time in Oxford. It was Murphy Holloway who helped lead that 2013 team with Marshall Henderson and others to an SEC tournament championship. They wound up knocking off Wisconsin in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Our old partner in crime, Andy Kennedy, of course, was the head coach. He's now the our head coach then, now the head coach at UAB. And Murphy Holloway, who looks like he could still give you 20 and 10. Murphy was a rebounding machine, the all-time leading rebounder in Ole Miss history.
A quick question. Is Andy Kennedy the only coach in the country who could have handled Marshall Henderson?
Yes, Marshall was a handful. Entertaining as all get out, because on any given night, he could give you 9 threes or he could go 1 for 11 from 3, but he was always flashy in everything he did.
Speaking of the three-point line, that is the biggest surprise to me in this game so far, that LSU's made 6 and Ole Miss has only made 3. You have to remember, this Ole Miss team entered the game not making particularly a high number, but their percentage was so high at 40% overall in all games. That leads the league, but so far here tonight, just 3 for 12.
Yeah, 40% as a team in college basketball is getting it done, and I don't know if anybody expected that number. Now the question is, can they maintain it through an 18-game conference grind?
But listen to this: Murray's 44%, Morrell's 41%. Breakfield's 39%. Flanagan was 37%. So they've got 4 legit three-point shooters, if you will.
And, of course, for Morrell, it's a second straight year he's been in that zip code of 40% from downtown. It's the largest lead for LSU, as Flanagan will toe the line here. An 8-point lead for the Tigers. It's a great test for Ole Miss, as we mentioned, on the road in the SEC. And now you've got a bigger test because you got to come from behind.
No big surprise to see Flanagan at the free throw line because of the way he likes to drive and attract fouls. He shoots 6 free throw attempts per.
Calmly buries a pair to make it a 6-point game.
Ole Miss going down the floor with a little man-to-man pressure, trying to change maybe the geography of the game.
Williams, nice job, finds Baker on the dime.
That's great execution. There were 2 different screens. Ole Miss got confused on the coverage.
Flanagan off a curl. Rims off.
Nobody back.
Fountain ahead of the pack. One-on-one on Morrell. And Flanagan smacked the backboard. The shot missed regardless. Morrell on the other end has it stripped. It'll be Ole Miss basketball.
LSU maybe with their best half-court set. There were two different picks in a hurry on the last possession on the half court. Watch the first pick right there, and then here comes Baker. So there has to be, on the show, they get confused. The second screen, there's not good communication. That leads to an easy finish by Baker.
Isn't it funny that the game's been played for over 100 years. It'll be played for over 100 more, and pick and roll is still an effective play.
Yeah.
You ran that back in the 50s, right?
You know, we didn't. I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I know there'll be revenge coming at a game soon, I'm sure, for that one.
You know, when I coached a long time ago, there were more action off the ball. There's more action in today's game on the ball.
Empty trip for the Rebels. Cook, Euro step, had it blocked. Ole Miss blocks more shots than anybody in the league. Here's Caldwell. Kind of a force, can't connect. And there's Fountain tearing away the rebound.
I kind of felt like both teams forced their transition opportunity. Nice job by Hannibal and Matt McMahon to get his team situated and organized in the half court.
Hannibal has been giving him some great minutes off the bench here of late.
Mismatch.
Baker, little bully ball down low, but he hit the back iron. Now Morrell finds Caldwell in transition, and a nice finish on the other end.
Nice job by Morrell to give the ball up at the right time.
Former top 100 prospect T.J. Caldwell, now in his second year out of Dallas, Texas. Baker again has size. This time he finishes.
Well, notice there's no Cisse, there's no Sharp. So Ole Miss playing with a smaller lineup. Brakefield is the 5-man.
Flanagan. Oh, beautiful pass to Morrell, who's hammered at the rim. He'll go to the line for a pair. Now on Saturday, we have another college basketball quadruple header for you right here on the SEC Network. And the showcase game will be at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Kentucky hosting Georgia at Rupp Arena. John Sunbolt and I will be on the call for that one, Mark. And
yeah, you beat me to that one.
I was waiting for you to say something snarky.
The read doesn't say showcase, but I know it's your game, so it became the showcase game.
Technically, it said featuring. I thought showcase would be kind of a little more glamorous. That's in honor of John Sunbolt, of course. As you look at Chris Beard, his first year at Ole Miss. I think Mike White, what he has done with the Georgia Bulldogs, they were an eyelash of beating Tennessee at home. They lost a heartbreaker there, but a big win on the road yesterday against South Carolina, and a much improved team in Athens. That should be a fun one.
Georgia's won 3 straight road games.
Yeah. And that's what the committee loves. Road wins, quad one wins.
Who did you beat? Where did you beat them? And who did you play on the road?
Tough pass. And Dean unable to handle it.
This is really not LSU's scoring lineup, if you will. I mean, only Wright is on the floor in terms of a double-figure score. Baker getting a breather, Cook getting a breather.
19 turnovers in this game, 10 for LSU and 9 for Ole Miss. Flanagan shadowed by Fountain. Nobody's open. Nobody's moving. There we got a flasher up top. And instead, they'll just settle for a 3. It's rims out. And a nice save by Dean.
Ole Miss trying to play this small ball lineup.
See if they go, well, Baker is out. Dean not quite the same force down low. Ward steps into a 3. Tyrell Ward wanted that shot, hunted that shot, and made that shot.
You and I saw him Saturday night at Auburn make 3 in a row in about a minute.
Yeah, it was like his own personal 9-0 run. Largest lead for LSU, and a reach-in foul on the Tigers. Team foul number 7.
Ward made 4 of these in the game against Auburn. Again, this is what happens when you have mismatches because of the small ball lineup. Defensively, Caldwell did not step out. You take another look at what LSU did in their first 2 games, just 9 for 40 from the arc, and yet 9 of 23 Saturday against Auburn. And right now, even better than that.
So let me ask you, you've mentioned a couple of times Ole Miss going small ball here. They have some elite rim protectors that are not on the floor. What do you hope and what do you think the strategy is here for Coach Beard?
Offense.
Yeah.
His team needs offense. And this is a better offensive lineup, but they're giving up something defensively.
Final 4 at Texas Tech for Chris Beard.
Let's see if Ole Miss goes down the floor, if this is a make, and picks up defensively.
Right on cue, partner. Full court pressure.
Yeah, this is the deny. Face guard and deny.
Comes into Ward, and they're going to keep it going here. Nice job breaking it into the hands of Hannibal, who's really played well of late. Actually leads the team in assists. Whips it to Ward. Hot hand. Got it!
Again, Ole Miss gets into rotation, and they're late.
On the other end, a miss by Murray. Over the backboard and out of bounds. But it will be LSU ball. Absolutely.
Tyrell Ward knocks down 1, and as we told you, he can light up in a hurry. Does everybody like it in the PMAC? Yeah, they do.
I thought I knew about Dalton Connect. I did not know he was going to be that good. And all I can still ask is for the Big Sky voters, how did he not make first team all Big Sky? He made second team. Who are the 5 guys ahead of Dalton Connect in the Big Sky Conference? We need a revote on that.
I think in his last 3 games now, he's gone for 28, 36, and 39.
Yeah, he's an absolute bucket getter, and he's not just a great shooter, although his form is picturesque. We watched a game at Starkville where he was thundering dunks off the bounce. Morrell drills the first free throw. And if Ole Miss is going to mount a comeback here, Mark, number 11 in blue is going to have to play large.
Well, here's one of the things that's going to help Ole Miss. They're now in the bonus. And this is a long time to shoot free throws.
And already 18 fouls on LSU. And Ole Miss is a good free throw shooting team.
Different press, 2-2-1. Got to get somebody in the middle of the floor.
Here's Hannibal to Dean. Into the hands of Jordan Wright, leading all LSU scores with 19, and he finds a backdoor cutting Trey Hannibal. Beautiful action by LSU.
Yeah, Murray got caught ball watching defensively.
Brakefield in trouble. This is Flanagan, 11 minutes to go, and an 11-point LSU lead. Life on the road in the SEC. They can humble some really good teams. Double pump by Morrell. Dean able to grab the carom.
Nice possession by Dean in a help way. Well, they lost Ward. He was wide open again. Doesn't he have to get another look?
If you could find him, absolutely. Streaky shooter who's been hot of late. He sets up another one.
No.
Oh, goodness. Tyrell Ward says, just give it to me.
He must like it when we're in the building.
Yeah. We've seen his best games all year. Now you're in the danger zone if you're Ole Miss. Down by 14 with 10 minutes to play. Strong take. No. Fountain tears away the rebound.
But Ole Miss trying to do everything off the bounce.
Wright finds Dean and an and one.
Well, they're impressive three-point shooters, and they're impressive three-point shots. Tyrell Ward gives you a little of both. And then watch Wright coming downhill, attracts defenders. I don't know about that foul. But Dean, nonetheless, with the easy deuce.
First bucket for Hunter Dean. They love his minutes off the bench, all the little things that he does, your typical glue guy. Flanagan, tough shot. There for the rebound, no. And there's Dean wrestling it away from Cisse.
Yeah, the little lineup didn't work for Ole Miss. They've gone more traditional now with Cisse back in the game. Wright's getting wherever he wants.
Fountain cut off at the baseline. Tough shot. Can't find it. Ole Miss needs a bucket here in a hurry. Juju Murray needs to change some of that juju. Instead, it'll be Brakefield on a triple and a timeout called by Coach Beard and Ole Miss. Much needed bucket with 9:08 to go and to cool off some of the flames provided by LSU.
Jordan Wright for LSU can impact games on both ends of the floor. He's got 6 steals, so he can be effective on the defensive end, but he's also now with 19 points on the game, and he's done it in an efficient manner. And Jordan Wright continues the great play that we've talked about that he's been on in the last 6 games, averaging 18 points a game.
Now, he's been terrific, and you see what he's done in his last 6 games. What a pickup in the portal. I mean, to get him from Vanderbilt.
But look at that line.
Yeah.
19, 5, and 6.
And one thing I've always liked about Jordan Wright's game from freshman year at Vanderbilt to now here at LSU, always lets the action come to him. He's not a guy that forces things or makes a lot of bad decisions.
That's scoring, being unselfish, being impactful on defense.
He's been key for this LSU team, who on top of everything else defensively with the 9 steals is hitting 50% from downtown. This has not been a great three-point shooting team this year in Baton Rouge, but tonight they have risen to the occasion against the top 25 Ole Miss squad. Hannibal, killer crossover, and draws the foul. If you let Trey Hannibal go downhill, that's a problem.
Well, he was so good, wasn't he, at Auburn the other night? And he did it in an efficient way. I mean, he was 5 of 6, 1 of 1, 7 of 7.
He's got that body that is so hard to not be imposed by with his physical prowess.
Now, LSU has shot really well here in the second frame.
Lights out in the second half.
This is Hannibal at the point. That's a walk.
Yep. Reed, happy feet in the corner. If you're Ole Miss, it's a good time to start a run. Right here, you're down 13, plenty of time in this game.
Well, it's interesting that Chris Beard took that timeout after making that 3, almost to inform his team probably.
Right.
We need to make a stand now.
Yeah. I want to wait to the final stanza here as we approach the 8.5-minute mark of this game. Morrell on the wing. Morrell on a fade and fire. 25, Rashad Marshall in the game for the first time. The freshman out of Blytheville, Arkansas. They believe in time he's going to be a good one. Wright, spin move. My goodness, Jordan Wright with a grab bag of moves tonight. 21 points.
Yeah, he just pushed Juju Murray wherever he wanted to go. That's a mismatch. Wright at 6'6", Murray at 5'11".
Morrell, mid-range, pure. Matthew Morrell, one of the best in the business at the mid-range jumper.
But you know, defensively you can live with that now because you chased him off the line. So probably and perhaps you saved a point. That's a poor pass.
Hannibal tried to connect to right. They were not on the same page. Ole Miss could tie it with a 3. Murray missed it. Dean cradles the rebound.
But Dean's been really good on the glass, hasn't he?
That's what he's there for. He is a guy that is relentless on the glass on both ends.
They're trying to, again, isolate Wright with Murray guarding him.
You see him in the corner at the top of your screen. They find him out on the wing. Wright finally misses one short.
Ward had a great look, didn't he?
He certainly did. Tyrell Ward. The best look maybe he's had tonight. And there's Morrell. Hoop in the horn. Matthew Morrell says, time for me to take over this game. A chance to cut it to 10 when we come back from the PVAC. Matthew Morrell has always had an element of smooth to his game for his 4 years in Oxford. But this is a year they need him to be more assertive, and he has been. He's always been an efficient player. Now he's been more assertive and having his best year in an Ole Miss uniform, and he cuts the LSU lead to 10.
Ole Miss now is just laid back in their man-to-man. They need some stops.
Wright tosses it to nobody in particular. He thought Baker was going to be there.
He anticipated before he saw.
Flanagan draws the foul and a strong take to the bucket. Every Thursday on the SEC Network, a women's basketball doubleheader. This week we've got the second game between Angel Reese and 10th ranked LSU and Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Coverage will begin after the first game, which is Tennessee and Mississippi State. He is the coach, Mark Wise. I am Mike Morgan. We thank you so much for tuning in tonight, the first of 2 on the SEC Network. One of these teams will be a surprising 3-1 in conference play.
Did you have that on your bingo card?
I did not have that on my bingo card.
Flanagan really good at the free throw line this year, 79%.
You could make the argument this has been the Bizarro World version of the SEC because nobody had South Carolina or Georgia on their bingo card either.
I'm not sure we should use the word upsets very often in this league this year.
Agreed, especially when you're on the road. Wright, who's been terrific in this game. They work it around. Cook on a 3, too strong, and Flanagan skies for the rebound into the hands of Juju. And Juju a little greedy on that pass, but they catch a break as it'll be out of bounds to Ole Miss. You see the teams that have turned it around. No 3 better examples than the Gamecocks, the Bulldogs, and the team right here tonight, Ole Miss.
Those are significant,
massive
quantum leaps in their net ranking from last year to this.
And all with coaches in their first or second year. The future seems awfully bright for all 3 of those programs. Juju dropping a dime as the cutter Brakefield is fouled, and he'll go to the line for a pair. If he hits these free throws, it's a 6-point game. I mean, it feels like LSU is still up 15 mark-wise.
It's a great job by Brakefield moving without the ball. He was around the free throw line, and I thought Reed lost his man on that dive cut right to the basket. You and I have been talking the last couple of days about the number of fouls in recent games.
Yes.
How about stop fouling? Isn't that a novel concept?
I mean, when I hear people complain about whistles, that's my first reaction. Believe me, these referees don't want the games to last 3 hours either. They've got a plane to catch. They've got things they want to do. They got a good meal to eat like you and I will have later tonight, Mark Wise, you picking up the check, of course. 9-0 run by Ole Miss makes it a 6-point game. Cook on a blow-by. Cook on a finish. The pride of Walker, Louisiana, 13 miles east of Baton Rouge.
With a hang time. Challenge Cisse.
3 ball, too strong, tap out. Ole Miss gets it back.
Effort play.
Juju probes the baseline and takes it right on Baker and off the window and in.
Fearless.
He's given up a foot to Baker and still attacked him. Cook again draws the foul. You got to count that, right?
I think so.
They do count it. A chance at a three-point play for Cook.
And back and forth we go now. Ole Miss, watch this. Murray from the corner. He looks. Hey, nobody's going to come over and help. I'm going to score at the rim. And then LSU, Cook takes the bump, finishes off 1 foot, under control.
I mentioned Cook from Walker, Louisiana. He was Mr. Basketball as a junior, won the state title as a sophomore at Walker High. 9-point game, 5 minutes remaining at the PMAC. Flanagan puts it on the deck, pivots, fires, misses everything. And Cook responds by firing up an air ball. 10 on the shot clock.
Isolation.
Right. Plays some bully ball. He misses, but gets it back and lays it in. 23 points for Jordan Wright.
What have I always told you about those air balls? The balls that don't hit the rim,
Right.
it disrupts the timing of the rebounder.
Crowd rising in Baton Rouge. Flanagan on Wright. Bellied up. Stopped. Great defense by Wright and forces a turnover. Have yourself a night. Jordan Wright, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 steals. And LSU is loving every minute of it.
Enough. It was Ole Miss's first turnover in the second half.
It's one of the best stat lines I've seen on a player all season long. As you see 10 steals now tonight for the #1 steal team in the SEC and LSU. But what Jordan Wright has done tonight, it's worth repeating. Almost a turnover there as Flanagan comes flying in like a free safety in a football game.
I didn't like the way Cook had half his body back up the floor. You can't see. You got to turn and face, look, see what's up the floor. There's the line. There's the look at Wright's line.
23, 6, 7 steals, and 5 rebounds.
Only have 6 seconds to get it across here. Oh, they got a home run ball.
Beats the defense down the floor, and a hard foul will send Mike Williams to the free throw line. I'm surprised, Mark, as a former coach.
Right.
We don't see more teams do that with pressure.
Yeah, it's a good point because a lot of teams put such size on the inbounder. It makes it hard to throw that pass at times. But I think you've always got to run it, even if it's a if it's like a ghost release.
Right. It seems like, unless the pass is a terrible pass, very often it's there.
But don't you, in football, I know you're going to love this, don't you always run the fly pattern so you can get somebody in the flats underneath
I like that. Flood the zone, Mark
Yes,
Wise.
thank you.
Look at you. 2-sport analysis from the coach, Mark Wise, tonight. A 13-point deficit for Ole Miss.
I think Ole Miss is going to have to score and press.
Brakefield. It's been quiet tonight, 9 points. Flanagan in the corner. A lot of time off the clock this possession. And Flanagan has it blocked by Reed. A scrum on the block, a jump ball, and the arrow to Ole Miss.
But with only 1.4 on the shot clock. Plenty of time for a catch and shoot, though, and plenty of time for a lob. Take another look. Scrum in the PMAC.
All right, what do you draw up here? 1.4.
A wraparound for Flanagan at the rim.
Let's see. Flanagan is guarded by Reed. They set up Morrell. Morrell, rise and fire off off the mark, and a tough rebound by Cook, who's fouled by Flanagan. And right now, LSU is in the driver's seat, up 13, a 1-and-1 upcoming, 3:18 to go. And they just seem to have Ole Miss's number right now.
You know, this is a team rebounding effort by Matt McMahon's team tonight.
Yep.
Because they don't have a guy that gets them 8 or 9 rebounds a game. And I think they've done really well at that.
They have, and they come in. I mean, neither one of these teams have been overly good at rebounding the ball, both lower third and rebound margin. LSU +1, Ole Miss -2. But LSU tonight has been very tough on the glass.
Cook has been much better in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
14 now for Cook after a shaky first half. And that is the largest lead as it swells to 15. Now a reach-in foul on the Tigers.
Well, it's one thing to say don't foul in this situation, but when a guy gets the ball in the paint with 2 feet available, you're always trying to dig back down in there to create the turnover and the steal.
Former Duke Blue Devil, Jamin Brakefield, connecting on the first free throw.
Yeah, he's their best free throw shooter percentage-wise at 84.
And a perfect 7 for 7 tonight.
In the first half, Ole Miss had the turnover problem. In the second half, they just had the making shots problem.
And LSU has gotten terrific performances by Wright, Ward for a stretch, and as you mentioned, Cook has really had a much better second half.
That's a much better job of keeping the ball in the middle of the floor.
Wright's going to go back to the free throw line. Another 1-and-1 upcoming for LSU.
Jalen Cook playing in his 7th game.
What did Bruce Pearl tell us about Cook when they were taking a look at him? He said, I thought he was as good as any point guard in the portal. Pretty high praise by Bruce Pearl.
I love the play by Reed, but don't sling the ball back up.
Rebels need to get something going in a hurry here. Well, that's definitely a foul on Jalen Cook.
That's an illustration where Flanagan knows he's going left, Cook knows he's going left, and Flanagan still gets there.
We know he's going left.
Take another look. Aggressive. Doesn't mind the contact. That's an easy call.
And double bonus the rest of the way for the Rebels. Flanagan buries the first one. And Ole Miss as a team, 74% of the line. They're 21 of 24 tonight. That's 88%. So that part of the game has been rock solid for the Rebels.
2-2-1 this time. The outlet's in the middle of the floor.
Nice job splitting the double by Williams. Good poise by LSU against Ole Miss's pressure.
Now, you don't want to get too conservative and play a shot clock game with this many possessions to go. Watch out.
Oh, he lost the giddy up. He got a flat tire on the way up. Did Williams? Flanagan, no problem with his giddy up as he goes airborne and draws the foul.
I mean, Mike Williams will learn as a freshman, if you cannot dunk it, you have to score. What a swing of events, though. This is an easy deuce on one end. He's not really close, really, to getting that to go over. And then on the quick response by Ole Miss, Wright protects the rim, but gets Flanagan back to the free throw line, which, if you're Ole Miss, this is what you want. This is how you want to score.
No question. And if Ole Miss makes a game of this late, remember that sequence. A missed dunk, a quick foul, stopping the clock, 2 more free throws for a team that hits them awfully well, including 89% tonight. And a timeout called by Coach Beard, and Ole Miss It's now a 9-point game, 2:20 to go, 2 timeouts remaining for the 15-1 Ole Miss Rebels.
So what is Chris Beard telling his team? 2 things, I think. One is there's enough time to do that. To do this. Sometimes your players have to be convinced. They have to know that you believe there's enough time to come back. Then the second part is going to be which press he wants to use coming out of this timeout, because they're going to go down the floor.
What's the message for LSU?
LSU is talking about better start with how to get the ball inbounds. You can run the baseline, so you always have to remember to remind that player of that, whoever that is. And then I think keep the ball in the middle of the floor. Whether it's against man-to-man or run and jump, somebody has to be in the middle of the floor. You may not get it, but it will pinch people into the middle, and then you can attack the sides.
See, the bonus will be in effect here. 10 team fouls on LSU, 8 on Ole Miss. And more full court pressure upcoming. Overall, LSU in the second half has done a pretty good job against the pressure.
Yeah, this looks like the 2-2-1.
Into right.
Again, see the middle release. The player in the middle of the floor will attract all the defenders. You gotta get the ball out on the sideline.
No, Wright turns it over, got trapped. Here comes Flanagan downhill. You know he's going to finish with the left, and it's a 7-point game. Baker lost it. Baker turns it over. Why? If you're LSU and now Ole Miss, the door is open. Opportunity knocking with 1:51 to go.
Back-to-back possessions. LSU has helped Ole Miss out. The double team creates the turnover and easy points. And then Baker just tried to go way too quick in the possession.
Flanagan feeling it. Flanagan drops another one. It's a 5-point game. 10-0 run by Ole Miss. 90 seconds to play here at the PMAC.
There's the guy in the middle.
Don't need to foul. We'll play it out. 15 on the shot clock.
Yeah, this will be the last possession they can play it out.
Cook up top. 6 seconds left. On the shot clock. Now down to 3. A corner 3. Got it! Huge shot by the freshman Williams. Timeout LSU.
Oh my goodness. What confidence. Late in the clock. As you take a look at the outstanding three-point shooting by the home team here in the second half. But late in the clock to find the corner 3 by Williams. Nice job by Cook. Did you see him read and evaluate? You could see his eyes look around the floor.
Yeah.
Watch Cook turn his head to look and see what's going on. Right here, he looks left, and then he comes back right. That's a really good job by Cook, and of course, it's a great job by Williams knocking down the 3.
Mike Williams only had 1 field goal all night. The second one might be the biggest shot of the game. And now off the Ole Miss timeout with 1:04 to go. The Rebels have 1 timeout remaining, down 8. I mean, this changes the complexion really of everything.
Yeah, Ole Miss now has to be in the score and press mode, and if they can't get a steal in backcourt, I think you have to foul.
And Flanagan has really become the go-to here late. That guy, Matthew Morrell, certainly would be a candidate for some clutch shooting here down the stretch. He's got 19. Flanagan has 20. And here comes Juju. Into the hands of Flanagan. Back to Juju. Brakefield takes it strong and draws the foul.
I think Matt McMahon can live with that, though, because they did a nice job of choking Ole Miss off at the three-point line and turned them into a driving team. I think you can live with that. If I'm Ole Miss, this is score, press, maybe 1 trap, then you have to foul.
7-point game. Ole Miss at the free throw line tonight. 25 of 28, 89%. Splash on the second. 6-point game.
Now this is all out denied.
Having trouble getting it in. Last second comes to Reed.
That's a nice job by Reed.
Williams bumped and fouled by Morrell. That took 6 seconds off the clock.
Sometimes you have to help your guards out, and Reed was so good at breaking to the ball in the middle of the floor, and that helped release the pressure.
4th foul on Morrell. And here comes Williams to the free throw line, where he's 75% on the year. 6'3" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland.
Now, Mike, I think Ole Miss's response is dependent on what Williams does. If he makes both, and he doesn't, so now I'm saying Ole Miss can have a 2 here.
2-possession game if you do hit a 3, but the option is yours if you're Ole Miss.
Don't shoot a bad 3.
That was not a great one. And a miss and a rebound, and now you got a foul.
But again, did you see Cook? He didn't put the ball on the deck right away. He kind of looked down the floor.
A double bonus the rest of the way for both sides. Cook to the line. 63% free throw shooter. But a perfect 5 for 5 tonight. Make it 6 for 6.
Now that it's a 3-possession game, I think Ole Miss, make or miss here, they have to have a 3.
Jalen Cook, after having his worst game in an LSU uniform against Auburn, playing much better here tonight. 16 points now for Cook. Clock starts when it's picked up by Juju. Juju on the attack. Kick out pass. Breakfield spot and fire 3. Back iron and the rebound to Dean. Here comes LSU. Another foul. And now LSU can smell a 3-1 start in conference play.
But it was the right play by Murray to penetrate and find a 3. It was a pretty good look by Breakfield, who's a solid 3-point shooter. So. Yeah. Good execution. Sometimes it doesn't fall, and really in the second half, that's been the story. Is Ole Miss's inability to make a lot of shots.
In the immortal words of Mark Wise, make shots. And LSU made a lot more of them in the second half. Got some hot hands. A big spark, I thought, came in a key point in the game when Tyrell Ward heated up from 3. Jalen Cook, a great second half, and Jordan Wright was one of the best stat lines of the year as Juju Murray drains the triple to breathe a little bit of hope and life into Ole Miss for the final 17.8 seconds.
Murray showing his range on that shot. Only 5'11". Most good shooters from distance at that size have great range. Look at how far behind the line he actually is. Gets it back to within 6 points. But is it too little, too late?
Mark, I think most people had already established Ole Miss not only a great story, but a good basketball team coming in.
Right.
What have we learned about LSU, though, with the way they have come out in this game and performed quite well?
You know what they've done tonight, Mike, that they did not do Saturday at Auburn in the game that we had? They played well at Auburn, but it was without Cook,
right,
who didn't play in the last 16 minutes. What they have done tonight is played well, especially in the second half, both with Cook and without him. So I think Matt McMahon has got to be encouraged.
I think too, stat lines can make can come in many different ways, right?
Right.
We talked about point totals from the other night. What Jordan Wright has done here today, what Jordan Wright has done with thank you for
Don Daly.
Don
Thank
Daly.
you.
Don Daly wanted some FaceTime. Thank you, Don. But I mean, this is a stat-stuffing performance by Jordan Wright tonight. He has led the way in my mind.
I agree, and if you had told me one team was going to make 10 threes and the other one was going to make 5, I would have said, well, Ole Miss is going to make the 10 threes. Well, not tonight. That's a plus 15 in three-point differential. That's the difference in the game.
Again, Jordan Wright. We might have to expand our graphics machine to fit all the numbers in, as he'll have a chance at 2 more at the line. But 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 7 steals in 35 minutes. That's one of the best stat lines we've seen all year long. Yeah, so we can't fit the rebounds and assists on there, but trust me, they're good. Brakefield just picked up his 5th, so he's going to have to exit stage right here in a moment.
And things do not get any easier for this Ole Miss squad, because I will see them Saturday night at Auburn.
Yeah, and Auburn is there another team in the country that plays 10 guys 15 minutes or more a game and gets contributions from all 10 the way Bruce Pearl's Auburn team does this year?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't know that, but I'm trying to sell it.
Well, you've been breaking down tape on all 350 Division I teams.
Well,
you haven't found one yet. But diligent work nonetheless on your part.
What a great win for LSU, who now will join that group at 3-1 in the league.
And you could make the argument as big a surprise as any of them.
Hold on just a minute now.
And all of a sudden, Choo-Choo's hitting bombs here late to make it competitive, but then got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, a hold on the inbounds.
Yeah, this is on Flanagan, who's trying to put Hunter Dean to the free throw line. Take another look. Again, Murray. I mean, he's nowhere close to the arc.
Well, you like the strategy because Dean is only a 47% free throw shooter, but you have to be careful when you do that, because you can be called for a flagrant if you just grab the guy.
Well, I think that's what Matt McMahon is arguing with Don Daly.
Absolutely. He's saying, wait a minute now, you can't just grab a player because he's a poor free throw shooter and not pick up a flagrant.
Don, you wanted some FaceTime, so here it is.
That's not the FaceTime Don probably wanted. He'd rather get back at our 2-shot. Dean, meanwhile, despite his less than stellar numbers, knocks down the first one like he's 90%. How about that?
He said, I've got your 9 for 19, Mike Morgan.
The bearded wonder. 2 clutch free throws. Morrell from long range, no. And Jordan Wright will get a chance to tack on to his 25-point night. And LSU is going to walk out of here with a 3-1 conference start and perhaps their biggest win of the season.
You know what this game is illustrating to us again? Winning on the road in this league is really difficult.
Well, the way this game started, if you would have told me we'd be in the 80s.
What a great point by you.
Right? I mean,
I thought we were going to have 80 turnovers.
Yeah, it felt like it. It felt like a 58-56 slobber knocker that we were heading towards. Instead, got some scoring performances, none better than this one. Jordan Wright working on a 25-point night and a stat-stuffing machine tonight.
I talked about Ole Miss in their next game. LSU has Texas A&M coming here on the weekend. Be awfully hard to score 89 against Texas A&M.
LSU knocks off top 25 Ole Miss, 89-80. Your final score. The Tigers are 3-1 in the SEC. We send you now to Nashville, Tennessee. Richard Cross and Mr. Pocket Square.